Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel for another lockdown chat. Very, very sunny day here in Edinburgh, but let's not just think about going outside. I am joined today by the lovely Sophie Richards from her brilliant channel, HairDryerTreatment. Sophie, lovely to have you on. How are you doing?
Hello, Doug. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm doing well, thank you. I think all things considered, I'm healthy. I'm at home. Like you say, it's sunny weather here in Wolverhampton as well. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. And obviously, we've seen from your FIFA career mode this morning that Adama Traore's shot is still rising. Probably hasn't landed yet.
Yeah, completely. I'm still trying to locate it at the minute. Lost another one of the footballs. How dare he? No, I don't know what's going on then, to be honest with you. I literally didn't put much power on it. A little finesse curler, that's what I was going for. And like you say, it's still in orbit somewhere. Not sure where it's gone.
All right. Well, I absolutely appreciate you coming on here and having a chat. Actually, we were just saying off camera, it's our first time we've actually spoken to each other face to face. So it is lovely to get you on and to get your thoughts on what's happened in lockdown. So tell me, I ask all my guests these, what have you been doing during this lockdown?
So I've been looking out for a lot of the elderly in the area because obviously still having to go out to work. It's only 1 day a week rota. They reduced it, but still having to work as a key worker. So what I'd do, I'd get shopping lists and to help all the elderly out in the area. I'm still doing that now, especially with my close family, like my nan and my granddad. And my mum and my dad have been in isolation, so I've been getting stuff for them as well. So helping out in the community as much as I can. In terms of my exercise, I've been going for a bike ride. So I'm doing about 10k every other day-ish. And the other days I'll be walking Luna, so that's what I've been doing. So Luna at the moment, who's my little Frenchie, she's loving life because she's getting more attention than ever, and she's actually going for a walk more often than she would be normally because that's our only form of exercise. So yeah, that's what I've been doing really. And obviously, as you know, I'm doing my FIFA streams and doing lots of YouTube content, teaming up with the likes of Troops, DT, teaming up with Saeed, and I got another one coming with Miles at the weekend, and obviously yourself. So yeah, trying to put out a lot of content for people. But at the same time, not too much because I think everyone is relying on YouTube at the minute. It can get a bit repetitive, so I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, but still sticking to the routine of the feedback. It's getting some good feedback. I'm doing all right at the minute. I'm doing all right. Apart from that Traore shot today, I'm not doing too bad.
I think like we say, I think that is still rising. Yeah, I mean, people will know this, but me and you are both key workers. So obviously, like I'm a supermarket worker, you're a teacher. How has it felt being out of work?
You know what? I always, when you get 6 weeks or whatever as teaching, you're spoiled with holidays, you really are. And a lot of time, because it is so demanding, that's what keeps you in the job sometimes. And I'll be brutally honest about that. Like the holidays is the nice peak of it. But being out of it now by force, like not by choice, I've been missing it. And some of my vulnerable students have still been emailing me, and it just touches you to think that they're obviously at home, but you can tell they'd rather be at school. There's some students where school is home. So it's hard. The nature of the students that I work with, I found it quite emotionally tough. And like I say, I never thought I'd say it, but I do miss being at work, and I never thought those words would leave my mouth. But every cloud has a silver lining, like we say, and I've been able to put more YouTube content out there, which work holds me back sometimes. So it's been nice to do that. It's been a nice change up. Yeah,
definitely, and it is. I mean, YouTube does give you that platform to get content out. I mean, I'm the same, to be honest. I've been mainly working, mainly going to work, and then basically just going for walks, with Ziggy, and obviously going walks on my own. So yeah, in that aspect, obviously social distancing areas as well. It's really, really difficult. But obviously, not many people will know this, but we're both massive Harry Potter fans, and I have to say that Luna, I mean, for you to give a dog name after Luna Lovegood, I just love that. I absolutely love that. So
yeah, there was two. There's obviously Bellatrix and Luna. Those were the two names. And we thought, well, if we call her Bellatrix, we're going to shorten it to Bella ultimately. She's going to be Bella, so that's what made us go for Luna. Yeah, but the colour of her as well, I felt it was just perfect. So, and we call her Lunatic because that's what she is. But yeah, I thought it suited her perfectly, that name.
No, we named Ziggy after Ziggy Stardust. Not my input, my mum input. But if I did have my way of it, I would have probably called Ziggy probably Ron. So
Love that. Well, we said if we've got a boy, what would you call it? And Ronnie's obviously up there. Neville. Neville for so many reasons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So Neville seems like a good one. But again, you'd shorten it. You'd be like Nev. It'd be Nev. So yeah, Neville might be a good boy name.
Yeah,
Dog.
definitely. I've obviously got to ask you this now. Obviously, the furloughing, Liverpool furloughed their staff and then had to obviously get basically retract it after a big backlash. Now, obviously, I asked Carl and my friend Andrew, and I've asked LCFC Boya this as well. Give me your thoughts on basically what you feel that Liverpool, Spurs, and Newcastle. That obviously Liverpool obviously retracted it, but what do you make of clubs furloughing their staff?
Well, Spurs. We'll start with Spurs because of the whole Mourinho debacle over a park as well recently. I just think they should be frowned upon society. I know a lot of reaction for Liverpool because it's Liverpool, but Spurs, they should not be furloughing the staff. Maybe a few months down the line, yes, fair enough, because clubs will start to panic financially. I'll get that. But surely at the moment, it should only be the lesser clubs who are scrapping for money from the government. That should not be the case for Spurs. They've just invested in a stadium. There should be no need for Spurs to do that. I think Liverpool, like I've already said, yes, fair enough. I think the backlash they had was correct. I think they should have had that. They're breaking records financially at the minute. So to furlough, I think was wrong. However, like rightly so, I know Jordan Henderson was one of the players who spoke out against it, but all fans that I've spoken to as well are completely against it, and they've come to the right decision. And you have to give them credit for that. At the end of the day, it took more guts to come out and change the decision, I think.
Yeah.
So fair play to them. But I think at this point in time, especially the clubs like Everton, Spurs, they're big football clubs. They should not be the clubs who are asking to furlough. I think it should, yes, smaller teams, and maybe a few months down the line they may need to do that. But I think in the first instance, don't panic and pay the staff up the way they should do.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Jose Mourinho. I mean, it's just like I said to you on one of your streams, it was idiotic. What goes through Jose Mourinho's mind going from Chelsea to Barnet, which I don't know the London area well, but I know Barnet is quite far out from Chelsea. But what would go through his mind taking Tanguy and Ndombele to a park and then have Davinson Sanchez and Ryan Sessegnon turning up? What would go through his head?
I think he's obviously thinking, one, that nobody will notice. With Jose Mourinho, someone will notice, and if you're taking 3 professional footballers, of course, people will notice. But also, and I hate to say this because there's a stereotype, and Jack Grealish comes to mind, Kyle Walker obviously as well, where footballers think they're above the law, where they're better than the law, and there's always been that feeling against footballers, which is why I think a lot of people are saying footballers should pay their way. But a lot of people believe that footballers think they're above the law, they're scumbags, they're on too much money, and they take that to their advantage. And I think this is just kind of this is just showing that stereotype even more. And all footballers aren't like that, as we know from the Players Together campaign. All footballers are not like that. They do contribute. But I think when you see a small minority like that, you're always in the public eye as a footballer. It's just creating a negative image. And like you say, he's idiotic. I think he obviously thought he was going to get away with it. He hasn't got away with it, and it's come back to bite him, I'm afraid. And that's what happens.
Yeah, and Mason Mount again was another one breaking protocols when he should have been staying.
Yeah.
So.
And it's shortly after speaking out and saying, "Oh, this is what you should do," and then completely going against it. It's that stereotype, like I say, that they're better than it. They can give us the advice, but not follow it themselves. They don't have to.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and I have to say that good for Jack Grealish, good for Kyle Walker, and good for Jose Mourinho to say, yes, we were in the wrong. We were in the wrong. But do you think, with the Jack Grealish incident, do you think that would maybe stop him from getting a move this summer if Villa go down?
It's a red flag, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, United, I think Ollie wants the kind of players who are going to fight for the badge, who are going to be respectable and be a good impression on the dressing room. Pogba obviously there's a lot of debate at the minute. Is he a good impression on the dressing room? And we don't fully know that. But if that's a red flag for me. Grealish is the main guy at Aston Villa. He openly did a video asking people to stay in, and then the next day he goes out and does that. I just think it's irresponsible. And like I say, it's that feeling that he's bigger than he is, if that makes sense. And I think kind of character at United obviously is a concern, because you don't want players who think they're bigger than they are. Going to Man United, it's going to go straight to his head, for example. So he did the right thing to make an apologise. I did say it was all about the reaction. At the end of the day, people do make mistakes, but it's not the first time that Jack Grealish has been involved in stuff, obviously, outside of football. But I think he's done the right thing the way he responded. I think he needs to just get his head down now and show that dedication to the game rather than obviously being out and doing things that he shouldn't. I think it's all about how he reacts from this now to show that he has really matured, because people are questioning that right now. But in terms of talent on the football pitch, you can't deny that. He's literally carrying Aston Villa at the minute. If they go down, or if they avoid the season, for example, and they go down, this Grealish is time now really to go to a big club to get some titles, to get some trophies under his belt as a player. And at Villa, he's not going to achieve that, is he? Especially in the Premier League. So I think it's a big decision for Jack Grealish to make, and I think he is definitely gettable. Would I get him? I probably would, to be honest with you. But like I say, I'd need to see a change in his attitude. He'd need to show the leader kind of characteristics that he has been showing whilst he's been on the pitch at Aston Villa, and not the stupidity of it.
I know, and this is the worst thing about it, is that Jack Grealish is the captain of Aston Villa. You know, he will let himself down, he'll let his manager down, and you know, younger people will probably look to him as a role model as well. So this is what makes it. I think that's what's made it really, really the worst of the lot for me is the Jack Grealish one. Now, so obviously this outbreak, this pandemic has obviously cost you your season, because you're a footballer. You play for Kidderminster Harriers. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
What did you make of the season being voided?
So like we're in. There's us and another team who were basically competing to win the league, and they were ahead of us, but we had so many games in hand. It was a really interesting season, and this other team, their players are paid as well, so I'm guessing there'd be bonuses for them if they'd have won the title. So for it to be cut off, it's really disheartening, especially more so for them, to be honest, being top of the league. It is heartbreaking because you've worked so hard for the majority. I think we had like 8 games left of the season or something, so we didn't have a lot left. And it's like you've worked all that for nothing. So it is disheartening, but like I say, especially at my level, health, obviously, it has to come first, because we don't get paid to play football. We shouldn't be put at risk. So I've already said I understand the decision, but it is hard, and I've got a lot of friends who play at Wolves, for example, who are getting on age-wise, and that they were clear. They were going to get promotion, basically, into a very high league, and that's been cut from them now, and that might be the last chance they get to actually move up the leagues, because their age that they're at in their career, and I think it's a shame. It really is a shame. Yeah. But ultimately, you have to just respect it. And like if they come to the same decision with the Premier League, Liverpool fans, I'm sure majority will say, yeah, we have to respect it, even though it is crap, but we have to just take it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm one of them. I'm one of them as well. Like I obviously I did a wee video with you on the coronavirus, and obviously the impact of the football clubs and that. And I actually said that I wouldn't be totally against it being voided, because, like we say, football, there's more bigger things than football. Health is paramount in this aspect. So I totally agree with you, and I think I can't see the season being played anytime soon. It could be probably into June, July, maybe even into August. So could we actually see the Premier League potentially being delayed for the 2021 season?
Well, if they've got to carry out this season, then that's the only way really they're going to fit it in. I don't think, because players will need to rest as well, obviously, in between seasons. They've got to allow some time for transfers as well. I think it's going to be an interesting one too. I would not like to be the person making this decision for the Premier League, because either way you're going to upset clubs. You're never going to satisfy absolutely everybody. You've got to look at the risk factor as well, and financially, how is it going to affect the Premier League? I think there's a lot of things to be thinking about, and it's a hard one. The safest probable way to finish it is behind closed doors. But entertainment-wise, it takes a massive downturn for the Premier League. How many people are going to be like tucking in and watching it really when it's like that, when there's no atmosphere? I think that's probably the safest way. I would like to see that the season is finished properly. So I think Liverpool do deserve the title, and as a United fan, it kills me to say that. But United fans forget about the fact that if it's voided, we're going to get Europa League next season. And with a bonus chance of getting Champions League this season, so we don't want it voided. We really don't. We want to play out and we want to get Champions League. The same we're attracted to the likes of Sancho. If we get Champions League football, it makes that more likely to happen. So I think the fairest way would be behind closed doors when it is safe to do so. I've read about some kind of summer camp idea based in the Midlands where teams would all be in a different camp. For the life of me, I cannot understand how that would be a good idea, because if one person contracts it, the whole camp's down, so it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. What I come up to, I'll respect the decision regardless, because we've never had a pandemic like this. I would not know where to start, not know where to look to get advice. You just wouldn't know. So I think it's a horrible decision. I'm glad I'm not making it, but I'll respect any outcome.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about Manchester United. Now, obviously, been a mixed season, has to be said, but you are the form team going before, obviously, this pandemic struck, and you had just beaten Manchester City again. Like, Ollie has something over Guardiola. What do you make of Manchester United's season so far, do you think?
I think it's been a mixed bag. We've had a lot of injuries that have affected us. I think not replacing certain individuals in the summer was really showing. Bruno coming in was a massive turning point for us. I mean, I saw people literally begging, saying just finish the season now because we're on the right downturn. Bruno comes in and he's just transformed us. The only thing I will say is we were linked to him in the summer, and you question why couldn't we get that deal over the line then? Because I think it would have been a completely different season if we got him in. But I see why Ollie is criticised. I understand it because the lateness of his subs, the subs that he makes, sometimes questionable as well. But at the same time, he's got looks at the bench. He's got the likes of Andreas Pereira, Lingard. He hasn't got a lot of quality to choose from, and I sympathise with him in that sense. So I always say give him an extra transfer window because the business he's done so far has been impressive. Bruno being the standout, of course, but people forget Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Dan James has been effective at times this season. He's been played too much, in my opinion, but he's been effective. I just think give him a bit more time. Look, he's trying to get a Deadwood out. You can see the process, the signings he's making are exciting. I think we just need to believe in him a bit more and give him that extra time. I think it's unfortunate that the season has been paused the way it has been because, like you say, we were in form. Bruno just coming in gave us a big buzz. It's going to take teams now, if we do start off again, a few weeks to get back into that match fitness and the fluidity. So I don't think the teams that were in form before the break will necessarily be the same teams that start in form next time round. So I think it's an interesting point. Season's been a mixed bag, like everyone does. You could say because of this coronavirus pandemic now. I just hope that if we do come back, I just hope that Bruno still has the same impact on the team that it has done, and Pogba comes back in and he can play alongside him. So I think that would be really exciting to see.
Yeah, on Pogba, where do you stand? Do you want to go or do you want to stay?
If Paul Pogba wants to stay at United, I'm all for keeping him. I really am. But he needs to stay at United and he needs to play football and get his head down. And that agent needs to stay out of the business, to be honest with you, because his agent is a nightmare. And the thing with Paul Pogba is it's a constant circus. Having him in your club, there's a constant circus around him. And at the end of the day, with Manchester United, we need to be fighting to get back to the top. We shouldn't be fighting with agents or getting involved in arguments or anything like that. So if Paul Pogba stays, and it's because he wants to stay at United, I believe that with Bruno in the team now, I think we'll get the best out of him. I don't think we have seen the best from Paul Pogba. I think we see it in flashes. There's plenty more to come for him, but he's also been injured, and you also have to sympathise with the nature of the players he's had to play alongside. It's not been a fluent lineup. So it's all about his attitude. If he's set on United and his heart is in it for us, of course, he can be world class on his day, keep him. But I can't be bothered with all the ring roll and all the circus that comes with him, to be honest with you. I think it's too much.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think on his day, he is probably this may make a debate. He's probably the best midfielder in the Premier League.
He's got everything. He's got pace, power, strength. I've never seen anybody control the ball in tight areas like Paul Pogba does.
Yeah.
He's got goals in his game, and you're right. He has got everything. He's the most complete midfielder in the world. But we just need to see it more consistently.
And the guy's won a World Cup as well. So you're not a bad player overnight by doing that. So let's obviously go into the new signings. Obviously, Adam Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, Harry Maguire were obviously brought in the summer. How do you think those three have done?
Brilliantly. I really think they have. I think Maguire is very slow and he's not an £80 million player. Of course he's not, but he was better than what we had at centre backs. He's improved us and he's brought that kind of that leadership to the back, but also his calmness on the ball. I don't think we had that really before. So I think he has definitely, and Wan-Bissaka probably been player of the season for us. Bar Fred, he has probably been our best player of the season, and I think that he's only going to get better the age he's at. He's already shown that he's starting to improve his final decision and his obviously final ball. So yeah, I think exciting signings are genuinely doing. Dan James, I think he's been overplayed, but even he's openly said he wasn't expecting to play as much as he has done since moving up a league. Just give him time, and I think he's been effective. The nature that we've been playing counter-attack football, and when that plan has worked, Dan James has been a big part of why it has worked because his constant pace on the break. And I think, yes, it can be a bit frustrating with his final product. I get that, but he's only going to get better, and the more he plays, the more he will improve. Of course, if you get someone like Sancho in, that does mean that Dan James will then most likely drop to the bench. Of course it does. But he's still going to get rotated in. And like I say, bringing him on, like Adama was used before for Wolves, he used to bring him on at the end of games. And he used to literally tear people apart because it was tired legs. Bring Dan James on and he'll be so effective for us. I do genuinely believe that. So every signing that he's made, I think, has been a positive one.
I have to say, like, going back to the summer, like, I remember the backlash that Manchester United fans on Twitter were going about Daniel James, and I actually had the decency to tweet, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Daniel James, one of the most exciting prospects coming up in Wales. Give the lad time, and to be honest, he's had a very good first season, in my opinion, because first game of the season he scored against Chelsea.
I mean, when you watch Manchester United week in, week out, you do see it can be a bit frustrating. It's a bit lightweight sometimes, he gets pushed off it, or, for example, get into good areas. But I'll be honest, his crossing pretty much is good. We haven't had the people in the box to finish it. That's been a lot of the problem. We don't have the committed players going forward because he's so fast. But I do think, of course, he can improve in the final third, and I'm sure he'll openly say that. Of course he can. But nobody was expecting him to come in and play as much as he has done. No, he's a 100% player in terms of he's full on every game. He's a burnout kind of player. If he's playing week in, week out, it's going to take a toll on him. Of course it is. And I think he has done. Poor lad, I think he has literally been overworked. I think this break will be good for him. But I do also think that people were getting on his back. I saw it on Twitter even after he scored. He finally broke his duck and he scored in Europa. And I still saw a tweet saying, "Oh, finally." And I'm thinking, this lad, obviously, you could see how he celebrated. He's been short on confidence. He needed that goal. And that's what I hate about United fans, the way that they just jump and get on the back. And it's not all of them. It's not every fan. Of course it's not. But sometimes you just need to be a bit patient with players, especially young players coming through like that, where it's his breakout season at United. He came from the league above. He's at United. He loves United and he wants to obviously do well and prove to his dad that he can play at United. And everything that happened over the summer with him as well emotionally, I think fair play to the lad. Like you say, that a decent opening season in the Premier League. Is it going to be a starter long term? Probably not. But it's a very good signing and a useful signing, and I'm happy with that business. And I was when we did in the summer.
And he's lightning quick as well.
He's rapid, absolutely rapid. And that you can't defend. Look at Adama Traore. Like he's now improved his final ball, but he was a bit like Dan James in the sense where he was unpredictable. He beat a man, but then give it away. He wasn't consistent, and now he's got a role in at Wolves. Nuno's done a fantastic job with him, and now he's one of the most effective players in the league. And I'm not saying Dan James is going to rise like that, but I'm saying it's a similar kind of thing. It's like a project with him. He's got the pace. You can't teach someone pace. You've either got it or you haven't. He's got the pace. It's just more about coaching the other bits of his game, and I'm sure he'll improve.
I think he will. And he's only 21. He's only 21 as well. So bags of potential. And like you say, he's a good prospect to come off the bench as well. You know, obviously. You know, if you do get a Sancho in this summer, and you know, if he's tiring as well. So obviously, talking about Sancho, what would be your ideal Manchester United summer transfer window, if obviously the window is going to happen?
Sancho has to be on there because of the amount we've been linked. So I'd say Sancho coming in. You have to be realistic. If Sancho comes in, we'll probably get one other player in, if I'm honest. I think we need a goal scorer. I've openly said that. I think Igalo will stay, so you can count that. But I do think we need an out-and-out goal scorer, and maybe that could be someone like Werner. But is that a realistic signing? We don't know. So if we could get Sancho in and a centre forward, I would be happy, to be honest with you. I think I would be happy with that. If we could get more, obviously, then we're looking at maybe another midfielder to come in. But Sancho has to be my priority because we've been linked with him so long. I think we lack that quality out wide. We just mentioned Dan James. We lack a quality player there. And I think Sancho, he's obviously the guy that he seems to be the most realistic option at the moment. A lot of people want Jack Grealish, I'd take him. But am I saying that he's a priority we must get? No, I don't think he is because Bruno's now playing in that attack. So I don't think it's a priority. But of course, if you can get Jack Grealish in the team, then yes, go for it. But yeah, Sancho has to be a priority for me.
And Grealish wouldn't be an automatic starter either, would he?
No. And would he be happy with that? That's another thing. He's the main guy at Villa. He wouldn't be the main guy at United. Would he set up for that? I think money will have a big part in that. Of course, it does with players. It really does. And the fact that he loved United from a young age. But it's all down to him. If he wants to play week in, week out and be a constant starter, he has to earn that, doesn't he? And that's why he should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Odion Igalo, I have to say, now I've seen a lot of Man United fans. There was a lot of Man United fans that were not happy when they brought Igalo in because I think everyone was remembering this season 16-17 when I think he scored one goal after his record season in 2015-2016. But I said it at the time, sensible solution. You needed somebody to get in. Josh King has been injured so long. Who are the other ones? I can't actually remember, but I know there was Josh King and
so
Cody
many.
Magallo.
I lose count of the amount of people we linked with every single window. It gets honestly draining. But in terms of Igalo, I think that I didn't write him off, but of course there is a sense of disappointment because the likes of Haaland we were linked with, and he's gone to Dortmund, and look at what he's been doing since he's joined there. But I didn't write him off because people forget the times where Igalo was playing for Watford and he ripped Liverpool to shreds. He was an absolute, on his day, he was an absolute world beater. His quality, he's got goals in his game. He had a few injuries, and of course he didn't turn out the way that he should have. But that season at Watford, he was tremendous, and he proved that he could deal with the Premier League, the physicality of it, and he did have an eye for goal. So I wouldn't say I wrote him off. There was a sense of disappointment because the likes of Haaland and who we've been linked with, and people obviously compare big names. We never know how true that is. And like you say, it was either get Igalo or get nobody.
Mm.
You can't say he hasn't been a successful one. Never talking about he should be permanent, and most of the fans who are writing him off are saying he should be made permanent because he's proven that he can do it. His link-up play is good. He scored some good goals already, and he loves United. So for me, it's a win-win. Obviously, he's been offered a lot of money to stay in China, but I genuinely believe he'll choose United. I think he'll stay in the summer. I think that'll be one of the signings.
Me too, because I think he's loyal to Man United, and I think he's been a very good signing. And he's proven he can score goals as well for what he. I mean, to be honest with you, like he's a good backup option as well to come off the bench.
Yeah.
Let's always talk about Marcus Rashford because this guy has been sensational all season, I would have to say. What is his best position, do you think? Do you think he's a left winger, or do you think he's a better forward?
I think he's better as a left winger, cutting in onto his right foot. I think that's where he's most effective. I think with his back to goal, you don't get the best out of Marcus Rashford. I think he likes the ball at his feet and he's running at plays. You often see him waiting for the defender and trying to cut inside and get a shot away. I think that's where he thrives the best. But I also like to see him with a bit of a free roll where he's drifting because his movement is good. Like you say, he's been on form. He's been scoring goals, and when his confidence is high, I think no defender wants to play against Marcus Rashford. He's got a great stroke on him, and for me, we've got the best out of him out on that left hand side because, like I say, he likes to run at players, he likes to cut in, and a lot of his goals have come from doing that. But ultimately, his pace on the counter attack, like Dan James as well, I think it's like a FIFA attacking lineup, like that pace. That's what you go for. I just hope that he bounces back from his injury and he can hit the heights that he was hitting earlier in the season. He had an unfortunate injury. We were relying on Marcus Rashford a lot. And I think people have kind of forgotten the impact that he had on our season earlier on. Like, he was crucial to us. Marcus Rashford was the guy that we returned to. So, and him and Martial started to form a bit of link-up, which was good to see and exciting. So I'm just hoping he can get back into that rhythm because I think he's quality. I've always loved Marcus Rashford. Again, he's not the most natural of finishers. He's got a good stroke in him, but he's the most natural. No, but I do think that side of his game has improved. And I think being out left, you don't rely on that so much. His natural ability to finish, he scores worldies. I mean, that free kick he scored against Chelsea, one of the best free kicks I think I've ever seen. Absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And actually, to be honest, he's been getting better at his set pieces because I remember, I think it was last season, he had a couple of set pieces and I think he was taking them and they weren't going anywhere near the net. They were always going over the bar. And
I shot on FIFA this morning. That's what they were like. But you know what? I'll never sit and tell a player off for trying something a bit different. Man United, we've been literally so predictable and slow and passing sideways. I wouldn't mind if every now and again Matic would try and play forward or Fred, and yeah, they might give it away, but at least they're trying something. And I think that, especially under Mourinho, I think there was a sense of scared. They were scared to take a risk, and it got a bit slow, predictable. So in terms of Rashford, yeah, it did get a bit frustrating, especially there was one where I forgot what the game was now, but we had a free kick right on the edge at the end of the game, and everyone's screaming for Mata to take it, and then Rashford took it, and I think he hit the wall or something, I don't know, but it's perfect for Mata. There's times where I think he's more of like the Ronaldo kind of dip, knuckleball free kick. I think the ones closer to the edge of the box, I think the likes of Mata or even Fred should be taking those ones, and Bruno obviously now coming in. Bruno gives Rashford more competition now from set pieces. Because obviously he's a specialist himself, so I think it'd be interesting. But yeah, set pieces are a bit frustrating, but other than that, I'm a massive Rashford fan. I think he's improved a lot. I just hope that he bounces back from this injury now. That's always a concern when a young player gets injured, how they're going to bounce back from that. So fingers crossed he does.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really bad injury that he got. Is there any games that you go away from this season? Obviously, the season was voided. Is there any games you go away from this season where you're thinking, yeah, disappointed to go away with defeat, draw?
Oh, trying to think back to all. I mean, there's always the games that we draw against like the mid-table teams. We've had constant them, but you have to say that we should have been better. Everton game in particular stands out to me as well. I was so frustrated that goal stood. I thought it was a foul on De Gea.
Mm-hmm.
That one left a real sour taste in my mouth after watching that. I think VAR has done that for a lot of teams this season, though, to be honest, where it hasn't been consistent enough. So, I mean, one of the standout games for me is the Sheffield United one where we've come back, and then obviously they've equalised. That's probably the worst one for me, because when you've worked so hard to get back in front and then you let a goal in like that at the end, that's probably the game that I was most disappointed, because you've shown that much character to get back and it's just switching off at a vital time. And again, I thought it hit his arm. I genuinely thought
I did as well. Yeah.
And it wasn't given, so it's that VAR element as well. I think we've all enjoyed a break from VAR. We all miss football, but I think we've enjoyed a break from VAR because it's just frustrating. Yeah. So they're quite nice not to discuss that for a bit.
Yeah.
But it has its perks, because you look at Paris as well and what happened there with that handball against Kimpembe. I think you have to look at it swings around a bit, isn't it? But VAR will be an interesting one to see how it's going to tweak next season, I think, because there's been a lot of uproar about it this season. What do you think? Do you think they're going to change much, or?
Do you know what? As much as it's got its perks, VAR has been a constant disappointment this season.
Not for Liverpool, though, Doug.
No, obviously not. But no, there's been a few incidents this season. Like there's like a toe offside or like an armpit offside. Like that really annoys me. That really does annoy me. But in all honesty, I think it's here to stay, unfortunately. But
I think so.
They need to definitely improve it for me.
They should use the monitor more, I think, in England. The referee monitor and check it. I think that needs to be used more. They used it in the Champions League. I think that's more effective. I think that's something that needs to come into the game. I know it might take a bit longer for the ref to run over, but we've been waiting 5-6 minutes for decisions to make, and that's an absolute joke. So that would be the one thing I would tweak. I think that the monitor needs to be used more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got some questions for you. Now, obviously, we had a question come in a couple of it was a wee hour ago actually. It was from Football That's What I Want. Is what are your thoughts on Timothy Fosu-Mensah and where he will fit once fit?
I think his best position, I answered this on my channel not long ago, I think his best position is right back. I think he's got all the attributes for it. He's quick, he's strong, obviously he can run with the ball, and he's decent in the air. So I think as a right back, I think he could be a decent right back. The only thing with Fosu-Mensah is at times at Palace he showed it he'd switch off. He'd switch off at times, but a lot of people say right back or left back is the best position to play on the pitch because you can literally see everything. So I think that Fosu-Mensah as a right back could be potentially where he should be striving for. A CDM is another position where I think he'd be useful because of, like I say, his pace and his power. He just needs to improve his distribution to be in the CDM. But I think he's a very interesting player. I think maybe the option of going out on loan again after his injury might be interesting because he was on loan, having a decent loan spell at Palace. So in a poor Palace team, he was their best defender, a lot of Palace fans would say. So I think that maybe another loan spell before maybe coming to United would be the idea because he's not going to replace Wan-Bissaka as right back, is he? And he's not going to fit into our midfield at all at the minute. So I think right back is where he should be aiming for. And maybe 2 seasons down the line we could see him featuring a bit more in a United shirt. But of course, again, it's that idea, is he going to be the same player after his injury? And of course, praying that I hope he does, because I think he's a very exciting young player. And not one that we should forget about, definitely not. I think there's a lot of teams that would be interested in getting him after seeing him at Palace.
He was very good at Palace. I remember him playing really, really well at Palace. And
their defence before, and he was the most consistent one. He would often be the guy who would be getting him out of trouble at the back, to be honest. So I think that, I think another loan spell would be good for him just to see how he is after his injury, to see if he can get back to the kind of heights that he was hitting. But I wouldn't write him off in the long run being a right back.
I had some questions from people that DM'd me as well. One was this: why do you support Manchester United?
So growing up, I was born in 1992, so football was always on the TV. My dad's a massive Wolves fan, but football would always be on the TV. And I remember everything was class of 92, class of 92, like they were everywhere. And Paul Scholes, I remember watching him pass the ball, and my dad would say, "Look, watch this, like, and if you get me interested." And then Paul Scholes was the reason why I'd just go into the garden, start trying my passing, and turns out I was pretty good at football. So yeah, Paul Scholes really is my idol. He's the reason why I started playing football in the first place. My favourite all-time player, and of course my dad would then take me to go and watch United games, and I just fell in love with United from there. Of course, I've always got a soft spot for Wolves, being in the Wolverhampton area, and that nature of my dad being a Wolves fan. But my dad would say the same about Manchester United. He's got a soft spot for United. It's just one of them things. But yeah, I fell in love with Paul Scholes as a player, class of 92. And then obviously that was the best era to be growing up as a United fan anyway, to be honest with you. Just went from there, really got stronger and stronger. And then it's an addiction now more than anything. I think that's probably the word to say. It's not all glory as a United fan at the minute. But yeah, I just fell in love with the way they played, obviously the history of the club. Going for the first time was a massive thing as well. But yeah, Paul Scholes ultimately is why I support Manchester United.
Paul Scholes, I mean, this is where Liverpool fans really annoy me. They compare Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard. I absolutely hate that comparison because I rate Paul Scholes as a player. Like growing up, obviously, Steve Man United in the 90s as well, and you know, I almost had a sense of like. I wish Liverpool were like that in the 90s, but Paul Scholes, I mean, that boy could hit a ball.
You can say humble he is as well, though. Like off the pitch, you don't really hear anything of Paul Scholes. He's just Paul Scholes, isn't he? Like he's not good camera. He's just the same. He's just the same guy wherever he is, regardless. And I love that about him. And the fact that he could never tackle used to crack me up as well because the guy not tackle at all. But yeah, I agree with that comparison. I wish that Paul Scholes did it more at international level. I think that obviously because of the Gerrard and the Lampard always playing, I think that affected Paul Scholes. And genuinely, I'm gutted that as a country we did not use Paul Scholes more because I think he was that good of a player. Zidane says he's the best player he's played against. Like he was just quality, absolute quality. And look, I saw a picture the other day and it was Ronaldo. And then they're a few years apart and it says what players did Ronaldo most play alongside, and Paul Scholes is in both pictures, and he just shows to stay at that level and to play at that level for so long in your career, to literally retire and then come back and still be able to play at that level. It just shows you like what kind of player he was. He was just a special player.
Yeah, he was, and that guy could hit a ball, like I've said. Have you lived in the Wolverhampton area all of your life?
I have. Yes, I was born in Wolverhampton. Always lived in Wolverhampton. Yeah. So it's an interesting place, Wolverhampton. It is, but you have to love it because it's obviously where you're raised. So yeah, always been Wolverhampton. Always been a yam.
Nice. Are you using Netflix / Amazon Prime or Disney Plus?
All. I've literally got all of them. I already had Amazon and Netflix anyway. Prime I mainly use for deliveries, but you might as well pay for the movies and that as well. So yeah, got Prime and Netflix, and then I got Disney Plus recently, and I haven't got rid of it since. I've been a bit addicted to it. So yeah, all of them.
I've got all of them as well. I've got Netflix and I've got Disney Plus, which begs me the question: what's your favourite Disney film?
That's a hard question. So I love Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast, the original. Big fan of Gaston, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like the remake as well, actually. So Beauty and the Beast would have to be up there for me as one of my ultimate ones. I love Monsters Inc. as well, if we're going into the picture. Monsters Inc. is just my childhood. I remember watching that growing up, loved it.
Obviously, there's a wee lion on here.
I noticed the hoodie, yes.
Yeah, Lion King. Lion King is my favourite film. Has to be.
See, I love Lion King and anything like that, but if the animal gets hurt at any point, like Bambi, oh my god, I'm like traumatised for life. I'm really bad. Like, I can't watch Marley and Me or anything like that because I'm too emotional.
Oh, Marley and Me, no.
I started watching Dumbo, the new one, and I was just like, no, I can't take this anymore. I think I managed about 20 minutes. I was like, I can't watch it anymore. Like, it just kills me up. It kills me. And I know it's obviously not real, but it's just sad. So yeah, but Lion King is quality. Like, I haven't seen the new one, but yeah.
That new one is very, very good as well.
Good.
This is a question I think every Manchester United fan would like answered. Do you expect Phil Jones and Andres Pereira to still be at United come this summer?
I think Phil Jones might go. Pereira, I still think he'll stay. Ollie seems to still find a spot for Pereira. He obviously rates him. I've always said Pereira, when he was on loan in Spain, I think he showed his class. I think he suits that league better than the Premier League. I think he hasn't got football brain, but there was less pressure on him in Spain. But set pieces, and technically, I think he is a gifted player. He just hasn't performed for United. I don't think he's now in a position, and he's not the quality of player that we need in the Premier League, sadly. Like I say, Ollie seems to find space for him. I don't think he'll start for us next season, but I can still be in and around Manchester United. I can still see him being there. But Jones, I think, may be different. I think I could see him looking, because I can't see Phil Jones featuring much, to be honest, especially with Boye coming back. Yeah, I can't see Phil Jones being around much longer. Sadly, it's going to be emotional when he finally goes somewhere else, I think.
Maybe back to Blackburn.
Maybe. I could see Phil Jones playing at somewhere like, I don't know, Newcastle or somewhere like that, to be honest. I don't think he's not as poor as people make out. It's because of the memes and stuff, because of the facial expressions. He's just a funny guy, isn't he? He's just entertaining to watch Phil Jones. But yeah, he has a calamity in him every now and again, but people forget the games where he's actually been tremendous. I think he just switches off at times, and that's why I could see him going somewhere like Newcastle, maybe lower in the Premier League, but not quite top 5, top 6 teams. I don't think he can go. He switches off too much.
Yeah, I think his future is away from United as well. Pereira, difficult. Again, you do need squad depth, so I think that he'd be very good for squad depth.
He's the kind of player I can imagine he actually would accept that.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd kick off too much unless a big offer comes in from Spain or something like that. Like, I think he would take it. I think he would sit on the bench. He'd be a rotation player, like you say, for Europa League. Maybe if we're still in that, hopefully we're not. But yeah, I think more of a rotation for the cups, Pereira. Yeah. And because Ollie seems to rate him, that's why I'm saying that. Like me, I would like to see him go elsewhere. Like say in Spain, the league, I think he really shown what kind of player he was there. For his career, I think he'd be better off doing that. But Ollie seems to rate him. Purely based on that, I think that he'll stay.
Yeah. And the final question we've got is quite an interesting one. Who are your favourites for Euro 2021 and then the 2022 World Cup?
I think at the minute that France squad, you have to say, it's ridiculous. When you look at the French team, Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba, all at decent ages as well. I don't think you can write them off, to be honest with you. No. Portugal are just really good internationally, obviously tournaments. They're just a really good team. So in terms of the Euros, Portugal, I think have to be up there, obviously. But France, for me, I don't think you can write them off. Now, the next few years, I think they're going to dominate. I really do think they're going to dominate world football. They've just got some mad talent. Even they've got the likes of Mbappe and that, but Dembele and people who aren't even starting or aren't even getting a look in at the minute. There's still players who are developing at the minute. So I think I can see France really dominating for the next few years. So I'd put them as favourites for the both at the minute. I really would. It's hard to call World Cup because it's so far away, but because of the ages of the French players and the quality that they've got in their ranks, I'd have to put them up there. And
even like their B team, I mean,
it's ridiculous. The players who aren't even looking is just ridiculous. I think they've got squad depth in every position. They've got a quality player as a backup. Whereas look at England in certain positions, we're scraping for a backup. They've got quality. They've got absolute quality, and I think that's what tips them for generations to be dominant until obviously other teams get the youth coming through.
And finally, how far do you think England could go?
England is so frustrating. If I'm honest, Phil Neville, for me, last few games, I think England have not looked as effective. I think they've been found out a little bit, but I don't know. I'd like to think that, like some Mason Mount coming through, I'd like to think they're going to go on to be better players and develop. So I'm going to say quarterfinals.
Quarterfinal.
Yeah, but again, it's a look at the draw though, isn't it? It's hard to say because it depends on the face, to be honest with you. But I think we've got a fairly stable squad. We've got a strong squad. Have we got a squad good enough to beat France? Is the way I'm looking at it. No, I don't think we have at the minute. But again, we're England. We're so unpredictable. It's so hard to call. Yeah. Just hope we don't face Croatia. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So frustrating. Well, yeah, I don't get my hopes up with England anymore because I remember the tears down the years of getting sucked in and thinking we're going to do well. I remember booting the fence, getting frustrated when Ronaldo got Rooney sent off and all that. Any tournaments now I don't get too excited. But it's the last running that we had, we did so well.
Yeah.
Like I say, to lose and go out the way that we did, it was just so disappointing. But it was typical England, and that's why it's so hard not to get. But yeah.
I know, absolutely. Well, Sophie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel, and I really appreciate you coming on and finally speaking face to face as well, which is excellent. Where can we find you on YouTube and your socials?
So my Twitter is at Sophie Richards, Instagram is Sophie Richards with a kiss on the end, and then my YouTube channel is HairDryerTreatment. So guys, please do make sure you sub to that, and obviously sub to Doug's channel as well. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and let's get Sophie to 8K. I think you would be absolutely fantastic to get 8K, and I really hope you get 8K soon because you thoroughly deserve it. And you know, for you to come onto YouTube and talk about women's football, and I applaud you for that. Absolutely do. So, guys, please go and follow Sophie. She's absolutely fantastic. If you enjoy her FIFA streams, then I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy hers, because they're always entertaining in the chat as well. So absolute pleasure. And guys, if you do like my content, please hit that subscribe button. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Smash a like on this video, and yeah, go over to Sophie's channel. She deserves it. And thank you very much for coming on. And I will be back with some more videos very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye for now, and stay safe. That is the main thing I can say as well. Stay safe.